Does, Your Honor,
That's all right.
this is Mr. Jefferson Eckford. For him, his case, he would like to admit the violation here, waive hearing. The issue of sentencing will be reserved while we pursue a furlough from the jail to a long-term treatment center that is approved by Mr. Eckford's probation officer. We ask that this matter be reset for sentencing. Okay? Sure. Put it into effect? Your Honor, I assume the state has no objection. My client's advised me that he wishes to admit the violation and have a sentence revoked to be served, or have probation revoked to be served. He wants to put his sentence into effect.
Eckford, raise your right hand. Let's place you under oath. State your full name for the record.
Jefferson Sean Eckford.
Mr. Eckford, you're here today on a charge of violation of probation. Do you understand you have a right to plead not guilty and to have a hearing in this court where the state would be required to prove to the legal standard that you had violated your probation?
Yes, sir.
You understand you would have the right to have a lawyer and have one appointed, and we've done that with a public defender.
Yes, sir.
You understand that if we had the hearing and I found you guilty, you could appeal whatever I did in your case to the Court of Criminal Appeals and have a lawyer appointed to help you with that appeal.
Yes, sir.
You understand that by entering this plea, you're waiving your right to a hearing and to an appeal. All I'm going to do is to revoke you to serve your sentence with credit for all your time.
Yes, sir.
You understand everything I've explained to you?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Well, today's the 9th.
Today's the 9th of October. Your Honor, this is a plea sheet that was previously signed by General Wojnarowski, and I've consulted with General Bryson, and she's signed off on the amendments there, which reflect that his sentence will be put into effect.
All right. Mr. Eckford, you wish to plead guilty and be revoked to serve your sentence with credit for your time.
Yes, sir.
And upon your plea, I find you guilty, order that you be revoked to serve your sentence in full with credit for all the time, and that time is set forth on this document. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, it's whose case? All right, so do we need to pass it till Mr. Howard can be in here? All right, we'll come back to him on the second call. We also need to check to see if there were any criminal trials that were set behind Purdle. I don't think.
Hey, Judge, I went pro se. You remember I asked you to go pro se?
All right, and what is your name?
Juan Brooks.
Juan Brooks. You indicated you wanted to go pro se?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And I let the I got right here know that I had fired him, but I didn't get to talk to you last week.
All right, well, you know, you're charged here, Mr. Brooks, with a violation of probation, and you had been given, I think, an attorney, the public defender, to help you with that. You are now stating that you wish to discharge the public defender and represent yourself.
Yes, sir.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
And you are to be arraigned on an amended charge of probation violation, which is basically stating that you were arrested on or about September the 28th, 2025 for retaliation for past action in Dixon County, Tennessee.
Yes, sir. I got it dismissed. It's just pending an interdisciplinary write-up from Sergeant Collins. I talked to the district attorney. I talked to the district attorney. I got to go to court next week, next Thursday. All I have to do is just get Sergeant Collins to get me a printout.
The first probation violation, I'm going to discharge the public defender because you've indicated you don't want a lawyer. Is that
Thank
correct?
you so much, Bill. Thank you so much, Mr. Wolfe.
All right. So, Mr. Talbot, you are discharged on the request of the defendant and are no longer required to participate in this. Mr. Brooks, you are here today because you have two different violations of probation. The first one alleges that you were placed on probation on or about December the 4th, 2024, and that you violated your probation for a period of 11 months and 29 days, and that you violated your probation because you failed to report since you were released from jail on May the 27th of 2025. That was issued in June of 2025. And then there's a second violation of probation that charges you with the retaliation, says you were charged with retaliation for past action on September the 28th, as I stated. So you've indicated that you want to enter a plea of not guilty and represent yourself. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. And on the Second Amendment I was inside of the Dixon County Sheriff's Office. I wasn't out on the streets, so I spoke to the to the district attorney in general sessions, and we decided that interdisciplinary, they had 48 hours to come up with interdisciplinary, and he was going to side with the results of the interdisciplinary from Sergeant Collins on the inside where it all happened. So we got to dismiss. I just got to bring him that sheet of paper.
So has the charge been dismissed or not?
Thursday it will be. And then I just got a rain on the 22nd.
So it has not been dismissed?
No, sir.
Okay.
So on the 22nd, I'm supposed to come in here to you to give you an update, 22nd of October.
Well,
I was hoping I could get out today, but if you want to wait till the 22nd, so I'd be
the
okay.
22nd is Judge Wallace?
Is that who that was?
Yeah.
Okay, but if I get out today,
Well, we're not going to just let you out without a hearing, so we can either, normally you would try to have a hearing after that case that's pending is resolved. Do you want to move it to the 22nd of October? I'll give you that opportunity, and then you can explain all of this to Judge Wallace, who will hear your case then.
we can do it today. If you want to do it, you want to do it today?
Well, understand that if we have the hearing today, what I'm going to consider is both the original violation of probation, which says that you did not report. And then the second is that you have been charged with retaliation for past action. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
And
My report thing, on the report, I would want to not approach the bench, but I want to ask you if I could show you that I made myself available by way of my payment of $800, and my fees are called all the way up, and I had I'm willing to finish my payment for my probation and my court fines today. I have a job at Shoney's, and I've been kind of waiting on you in the courts to get me right back on the right road, because I've made my payments, and I know it's risky, but you remember I only got 60 days out, and then September 22nd was my status update. So when they violated me, I was still in the midst. I only had 60 days from the time you gave me the status. So I really was I hadn't done anything but work at Shoney's as a dishwasher, and I hope I haven't lost my job, but I've been locked up for the past 6-7 weeks.
General Bryson, are you ready on a hearing for Mr. Brooks?
Judge, I'm trying to look up and see who the victim of the retaliation is. With there being a new violation, I'm trying to make sure that I can get my witnesses together before I tell you yes, sir.
All right, I'm going to put Mr. Brooks on the second call of the docket so we can determine. You have the right to have a hearing, but we'll either proceed on the first one or the first and second one. But we're going to first give the state an opportunity to have a witness present who can testify about whether or not.
Well, Judge, it being that it's in general sessions, will it be a conflict of interest? Because I already have it handled in general sessions to get it dismissed, just like the theft of property. You remember the last time I came in here, I had
Who would have a conflict of interest?
I would, with the court at general sessions, I've already worked out a deal with them to get it dismissed. So if I heard it in this court, it might hurt me.
That's true.
I'd rather wait till the 22nd to get it dismissed so I can show the state that.
That's probably a wise on your part.
Thank you so much. And I probably wouldn't be able to leave today, go home and be reinstated today, but I'm okay with that.
October 22nd.
Thank you so much.
All right, who do we have here?
Yes, Your Honor, this is Sherisa Kathy. I believe she's on the first page. And this is a matter that's set for sentencing, a sentencing hearing. Ms. Kathy asked to be heard as to sentencing. She's already admitted the violation. This is one where she was furloughed to Hope Center for treatment, and the proof would be that she almost completed the entire treatment program. But didn't. Almost, and left the program, Your Honor.
What's that saying? Almost is but to fail, almost but to no avail, or something on that order?
So she has to be heard as to
What do they
sentencing.
say? close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, not in rehabilitation. All right, if you're ready to put on your proof. She's already been found guilty of violating her probation, so we're instead going to have a hearing on whether or not there should be any changes to the matter, so. State ready? All right, Ms. Kathy, or Mr. Talbot, rather, you may put on your proof. Call your first witness. Ms. Kathy, if you'll come around, I'm going to ask you to step forward, raise your right hand, and be placed under oath.
All right. Ms. Kathy, please say your name.
Sherisa Kathy.
Okay. And in this case, you had already admitted violating the terms of your probation several months ago. Was that right?
A year ago, yes, sir.
A year ago? Okay. And then in the settlement of that, were you required to go attend Hope Center and complete that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you start Hope Center?
I did start this Hope Center, yes, sir.
And how long was that program supposed to be?
It was supposed to be a year, 12 months.
Okay. When did you start?
I started April 9th of 2024.
Okay. And you were furloughed from the jail, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And how did you do in that program?
I excelled. I was a leader. I was a first phase leader. I was in charge of all the new girls that they came in, and, you know, I was doing remarkable. I was doing great.
And were you regularly drug screened?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
How frequently did the drug screens occur?
Usually once a month. Sometimes sooner, but for sure at least once a month.
Okay. And did you have, before February 2025, did you have any kind of behavioral infractions at all at Hope Center?
None at all. I was a impeccable resident.
So April to February, that's approximately, what, 10 months? Is that fair to say?
It was pretty close to 11, I thought.
All right. Did you progress through the program's phases?
Yes, I did all the phases. Remarkable. I mean, you know, I was in charge of all of the other girls that came in.
And
I poured into my flock, you know. I did exactly what they asked me to do.
did you feel that you had overcome your addiction at that point?
By far, yes, sir.
So you weren't using any drugs since you started, you hadn't used any drugs since you started
No, sir.
Hope Center in April of 2024?
No, sir.
All right, then in February, at the end of the month, was there a urine drug screen that was conducted?
Yes.
Okay, and what were the results of that screen?
They said it was positive for methamphetamine.
All right, did you take methamphetamine?
No, sir.
Okay. When you're at the program and in the phase that you were in at that time in February, what phase were you in?
I was in third phase.
Is that the last
The
phase?
last phase. I was about to graduate.
And there was this test, and your testimony was that you didn't use any methamphetamine.
Right. Yes, sir.
At that point in the program, could you have used methamphetamine? How would you get it? Was it possible? Are you unsupervised?
I guess it could have been possible because I did have passes because I was on third phase, so I could come and go as I pleased, you know, pretty much.
What kind of places would you go?
I mean, I would just go home when I left, or my mom's house, because my dad had just passed away. So
How long would those passes be?
just no more than 8 hours.
Okay. So no more than 8 hours? you'd
Right.
Come back to Hope Center?
Yes.
Okay, and were you residing at Hope Center at
Yes,
that point?
sir. Yes, sir.
And then after this test occurred, were you given an opportunity to restart Hope Center?
They wanted me to restart. They said I could either be dismissed because of my drug test or restart. And then restart would have been a whole another 11 months. And as I said, my dad had passed and my mom, you know, is taking care of my 17-year-old daughter. And so I just didn't know how a whole another year for something that I didn't even do. So I called my probation officer. I asked her what I needed to do, and she said to, you know, because I kept saying, well, can we take another drug screen, you know, whether it be blood test or, you know, send this to the lab, whatever I needed to do, I would pay for. And so my probation officer recommended to do a hair follicle test and turn myself into jail. And that's exactly what I did. And so I've been waiting.
Okay, so you did both those things?
Yes,
You turned
sir.
yourself into jail and you underwent a hair follicle test?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so you've been in jail, is it fair to say you've been in jail since the end of February till now
Yes, sir.
in the Dixon County Jail?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the hair follicle test, what happened with that?
It was negative.
Okay. And so that was done, that was conducted by probation, that test?
Well, I did it at the DMA. I did it at DMA in Dixon.
Was that with the authorization of your
But
probation officer?
you know, they did tell me to do that. That's what she told me to do.
All right, and those results were given to your probation officer?
Yes, they were given to her, yes. I had them, you know, emailed directly to her.
And no new violation has been filed against you?
No, sir. No, sir. And I really wanted to, you know, complete the Hope Center, but a whole nother year for something I didn't do was just really hard. So I just thought that I would take my chances with, you know, and I have taken, you know, classes while I've been in jail. You know, I've been trying to better myself. I'm in the honor pod. I've also taken and completed the MRT class.
So to date, how long have you been clean from drugs?
19 months.
And do you intend to continue to be clean?
Yes, sir. I'm not going back. No, sir.
Do you think further drug treatment would do you any good?
I feel like I'm, you know, I've found the Lord and I've learned to, you know, cope with my addiction, and I rely on him to get me through everything. So I don't think it's really needed, but if you tell me that I have to, I will.
Tell me about the certifications that you've earned in jail and the classes you've taken.
I've taken, I was in an honor pod since June, and we take extra classes. So I've taken any classes that they have offered. I've done the MRT, domestic violence, anger management, parenting, and I've completed all of those. I might have more. And then I also did all the classes that were on the tablets that they offered, as far as like plumbing and entrepreneurial. You know, I've taken
there-
any class that I could get.
Is there any opportunity that's been afforded to you at the jail that you haven't taken advantage of?
No, sir, I've taken every opportunity that I have been able to get.
All right, so what was your original sentence? How long was that?
It was 5 years.
5 years? Okay. And are you asking that you just be reinstated at this point on the time you've already served?
I would like that.
Thank you. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Cross-examination.
Miss Kathy, you were actually furloughed to the Hope Center because you violated your probation.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry.
I'm not going to get upset if you call me sir.
Sorry.
Okay, now your original sentence was a meth charge.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and you violated for testing positive for meth.
I totally understand that, where you're coming with that, but yes.
So yes,
Yes,
okay.
yes, ma'am.
And you went home on some weekend passes.
Yes.
Does anyone in your household use meth?
Not that I'm aware of, so that's why when I talked to my probation officer, I was like, could I be testing positive if someone was using, you know, meth in the house? But I didn't think so, but I just wanted to make sure.
So you didn't tell your probation officer maybe it was your boyfriend's meth?
I didn't say that for sure that's what it was. I just said, could it be if someone was smoking meth in my house? And then I like said, I don't know how that works. I just know I didn't physically do it. So I asked her, you know, trying to be as honest as possible with her. And,
So
and I
does your
just said, could that
boyfriend,
be possible?
So-
And he said that he didn't do it. He doesn't do it. I can have my house tested for it. I just was trying to find out why my drug test was coming back positive when I had not done any.
now your drug screen also popped positive for buprenorphine?
Oh, no, it did not. That's the drug test that I took with the probation officer many months, like the year before. Because the one at the Hope Center did not have any buprenorphine in it.
Now, you did not complete the Hope Center.
No, ma'am.
And they gave you an opportunity to stay in the program, but you did not want to restart.
restart for 11, and I'd have to go back 11 more months, do a whole nother year. So if I thought,
So you said no.
I said no because my
So
mom,
you said no.
I said no, yes.
You said you would do treatment if the court said so, but you already had that opportunity.
Yes, ma'am, I do realize that. But I also was under the interpretation that if I went to treatment and then wasn't happy with that treatment, then, you know, I could be sent to another one. And I was not happy with them. I did my absolute best there. And then they didn't stand up for me when, you know, they said that I had taken, you know, a drug test and they didn't let me send it to the lab. They did not let me send it to the lab. They did not let me take another hair follicle test or take a drug test because I said, take me to the hospital and I can take a drug test, another one, you know, let me do blood. And they said that they did not offer that. And so when I talked to my probation officer, she said that that was my only option, was to do the hair follicle test. And that's why I did it. Because, I mean, that's just like saying that you're guilty for doing something when you didn't do it.
You actually asked Hope Center if they would pour your drug screen into another cup to make sure that the cup wasn't defective, right?
I asked them to take me, I mean, those drug tests are free for them. They're free for them. I know that for a fact.
Hey, it's a simple question.
But
Did you
yes,
ask
I did.
them?
I did.
Okay. And they did. They poured your urine
Yes.
over into another cup,
Yes.
and that also showed that it was positive.
Yes. But a hair follicle test proved that it was, you know,
Do you have that hair follicle test with you?
no, because I had it sent directly to my probation officer.
Okay, so it's not in evidence for the judge to consider, correct?
Would seem to be a conclusion on her part. Sustain the objection.
Nothing further, Judge.
Redirect. Thank you, ma'am. You may step down. Albert, you may call your next witness.
Yes, I do.
Officer, would you please identify yourself?
Officer Angel Nyamtu with Tennessee State Probation and Parole.
And is supervision of defendant Sherisa Kathy your responsibility?
No,
Okay. Did you have any interactions with Miss Kathy?
I supervised Miss Kathy up until about 2 years ago.
Okay. Did she come to you regarding her departure from Hope Center?
She contacted me instead of her supervising officer at the time about being kicked out of the Hope Center for testing positive for methamphetamine.
And did you talk to her about doing a drug test using a hair follicle examination?
I told her that she needed to immediately return to the jail. If it were me and I knew absolutely I had not used anything, I would get a hair follicle test along the way, but to definitely immediately return to the jail.
And as far as you know, Miss Kathy did immediately return to the jail, right?
Correct, after she got her hair follicle test.
And the results of that hair follicle test, were those sent to you?
They were.
Do you have an agreement?
May I please hand you some documents? And do you recognize this document?
Yes, that appears to be the results of the hair follicle exam that hair follicle test that Miss Kathy completed.
All right. And were those provided to you by email from the testing facility?
That's correct.
So Miss Kathy didn't send those to you?
No,
Okay. And the results of that show a negative across the board, is that right?
that's correct.
Okay. Your Honor, I move to make that an exhibit to the hearing today.
Marcus,
Judge, I don't believe it has any authentication.
It is definitely hearsay, Your Honor. It is, however, something we ask the court to consider in the sentencing of the defendant.
I'm going to allow it to be introduced, and we'll consider it in the weight to be given to it.
Did you have any other interactions with Miss Kathy in February 2025 about her departure from Hope Center?
I don't believe I had any further interactions because she had gone directly to jail.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions, Your Honor. I'll pass the witness.
Well, Bryson, you have questions?
Did she speak to you at all about how she might have tested positive for methamphetamine?
Miss Kathy proposed to me that she had gone home to her house where her boyfriend was a methamphetamine user, and maybe she laid on the bed and had gotten in her system that way.
Nothing further, Judge.
Thank you, ma'am. You may sit down. Oh, your next witness. State have witnesses?
Judge, I believe Megan Purdle from the Hope Center should be on Zoom. And I would thank the court for allowing Ms. Purdle to be present via Zoom. She was here the last VOP day all day with us.
All right, I'm going to ask you to unmute your device, please, ma'am. You will raise your right hand. Let me place you under oath. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this case to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You may ask.
Are you Megan Purdle?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
And you work with Hope Center Ministries?
Yes. I'm the director of the Women's Center there in Dixon.
And did you interact with Ms. Kathy during her time at the Hope Center?
Yes, absolutely. I was actually, during her time, I was the recovery pastor. And then in May of this year, I stepped up to be the director.
And did Ms. Purdle was in the Hope Center as a furlough, is that correct?
She was there as a furlough.
And did she successfully complete the program?
She did not successfully complete the program.
Was she given an opportunity to restart the program?
Yes, ma'am, she was. And at that time, she stated that she could not redo another year in the program.
At the point, let's talk about how she did in the program up until the point that she was terminated. What can you tell us about that?
So Reese was always compliant. She was actually our phase 1 leader. And so she followed all policies, all procedures, and never had any issues with her. It wasn't until she went to 3rd phase and her daddy died unexpectedly, that we started seeing some changes in behavior, and which is to be expected in a situation like that.
Is the loss of a loved one, is that a difficult, I mean, that's a difficult time for anyone, but how does that affect someone in recovery?
So death is often a brick wall for a lot of people. And so processing those emotions when it comes to someone that is in recovery or that is using, ultimately they're using to numb the emotions and the feelings that they are feeling in that moment. They self-medicate. And so when you are in recovery and something like that happens, you're no longer self-medicating. And you are having to feel these raw emotions that for so long you have had other means of not feeling. So her dad was always there. Every time the doors were open, every time there could be a visit, her family was there. They were very active in her program and in her life. So, and she was extremely close with her daddy. So when he died, it was not only did it shake the family, but it shook her as well.
How often are participants drug screened?
They are drug screened typically once a month. However, we pull randoms, and if we have any suspicions or odd behavior, or if we hear at their vocational training that something is going on, we can drug screen as often as we need.
And Ms. Kathy has already testified regarding her screen that she failed. What date was that?
I believe that was on the 27th of February. So it was on a Thursday, and there was some prior things that was leading up to that drug screen as to why that drug screen was initiated that morning.
So that random drug screen, not a normal monthly drug screen?
Correct.
What caused you to do the random drug screen at that point?
Just some information that I had received through a phone call that had raised my awareness to be watching her behavior more closely. And so at that time, that morning, I was the one that made the phone call to Jackie Newman, is the one that actually initiated the drug screen. And she no longer works for the program, but I was the one that called that morning and said that Reese could not leave the property until a drug screen was given.
How recent had her last home pass been?
So she was in third phase, and how third phase works is they are still under the umbrella of Hope Center Ministries. They don't get overnight passes. So she was able to go home, and during that time, her husband was living in their house. However, her husband cut off all communication with Reese. And so that weekend, she went to the house and he was there. I do know that at the beginning, she had a hard time getting into the house. She eventually did get in. She stated to me, I was able to get in. But when they're in third phase, they could go home on free nights. They could visit, and then they could also go home during the day on Saturday and Sundays.
Did she make any admissions to you about using?
No, she has said consistently that she did nothing, and I've stayed in contact with Reese even after she left. She did call her probation officer the day that she left. There was 3 drug screens given that day. The first one failed for meth and amphetamine, and she asked that it be poured over into another cup, just to recheck it. And so we did that, and once again, the results were consistent. At that time, she requested that it be poured again, and so she went to the top of the stairs and got into the closet and got a different drug screen, different brand, different box. And she was able to use that as her for the third drug screen, but it also failed for the same 2 things, methamphetamine and amphetamine. There was not even a faint line on it.
Is there anything else you think the court needs to know about Miss Kathy and her time in the program?
Other than she was compliant, I did tell the DA last week that if the court wanted her to redo the program, that I have a bed available and I would take her back. She was not an issue in the program. She was compliant, and she helped keep the culture up. So I would always take her back.
I don't have anything further, Judge.
Talbot, you may cross-examine.
Thank you, Director. You testified earlier about someone going through grief and maybe
Mm-hmm.
that causing them to resort to drug use. Is that your specific belief about Miss Kathy? Or is
I
that just,
believe, no, so um, I believe that she had a lot going on in that moment. Her daddy died, and then her husband was not was there, and then all of a sudden he cut all communication off. And so her behavior leading up to that drug screen that week was a little erratic. She was dropping stuff more than usual. Carrie and I was sitting in the office one day, and she was coming through the hallway, dropping everything, just real nervous like. And so our exact words was, "Reese, are you okay?" Because in the program we called her Reese. So, and during that moment right there, we knew that something behavior was off for Reese.
now, are you aware that her father passed away November 2024?
Yes, I was there that day that he passed away.
And then Miss Kathy had a clean drug screen as recent as January 14, 2020. The records reflect that as well?
Yes. Yeah, that was the only failed, even upon her admission, that was the only failed drug screen that we ever had. And so any other time that we gave Reese a drug screen, nothing flagged on it. No faints, they were dark lines. And that specific day, there was no lines except for the control line
With
on that.
the February 27 urine drug screens, you didn't conduct those yourself, did you?
I did not. The apprentice that we had at the time, she was the director apprentice. Her name was Jacqueline Newman. She is the one that conducted those, and but she's no longer with the ministry, so that's why I'm here with you guys today.
You didn't observe firsthand the administration of that test.
I did not.
Thank you, Director.
Redirect?
No, Judge.
Let me ask this follow-up question. Ms. Kathy has testified, and it's been fairly well established that after she tested positive on your test, that shortly thereafter, she, on the advice of a probation officer, took a hair follicle drug test with Dixon Medical Associates, and the results of that test were negative.
Mm-hmm.
That test, exhibit, you gave that to me, right? I'm gonna find that test results, but it was, I think, close after the date of the date of her.
It was, yes, sir. It was actually the very next morning that she went and took that.
All right, so
I knew
how-
that I knew that she was going to take that morning. So she took that the very following morning.
So how would you explain the fact that you have a test that three tests that your agency found that there was positive drugs in her system somehow, and then the next morning a hair follicle test, which you would expect to be even more definitive than a urine test, that is all clear? How, any explanation? I know you have experience in dealing with these.
So the thresholds, Your Honor, are different on a hair follicle versus a urine. And when I say the threshold, so on a threshold of a hair follicle, it is 500 NGs, I believe, is what it is, and on a urine, it's 250. So I can't give you a clear answer on that, Your Honor, other than
Yes,
if
did.
she did it one time that weekend. And then we drug screened on a Thursday. And then
Okay.
and then on Friday, she went and took the hair follicle. Because Reese was sober the whole time she was in the program up until that moment when those failed drug screens happened. Even
right.
upon entrance from jail, she tested negative.
Next question. If, I'm not saying this is what would happen, but if she were given the opportunity to re-enter your program, would she start at level 1 or would she go back to level 3?
No, she would start back at level 1.
And it's an 11-month program?
It's a 12-month, 10 months in-house. Well, it's 12 months in-house, but the last 2 months is community living. So she gets a little bit more freedom. She gets her phone. She would be able to have her car. She would be able to work and then go, visit daytime home during the weekends and on free nights, which is Tuesdays and Thursdays.
So how far away from graduation was she when she left the program?
She was just a few weeks.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Anybody have any questions for her after my questions?
No, Judge.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes,
I'll let
sir.
our meeting, so.
All right,
Thank
thank you.
All right, State, have any other witnesses?
No, Judge.
You have any rebuttal proof, Mr. Talbot? Let's take our morning recess. We'll be in recess for about 15 minutes. All right, this case is here for resentencing or sentencing consideration. And I would simply run through the history of it, that she was indicted and charged with possession of methamphetamine or the sale of methamphetamine more than 0.5 grams. Another count was the sale of meth more than 0.5 grams. And that occurred in, I believe, in 2019 when the indictment was filed. In 2023, some 4 years later, she entered a plea, and her plea agreement was that she was found guilty of attempted sale of methamphetamine and sentenced to 5 years as a Class C felony. All of her property that was seized was forfeited to the Drug Task Force to be given pre-sentence jail credits, and she was ordered to undergo random drug screens at least once a month with zero tolerance. In June, that was in 2023, May 8th, 2023. On June the 6th of 2023, some 1 month later, it was reopened on the state's violation of probation warrant, and she was arrested on that warrant June 13th. And that came back before the court on July the 26th of 2023, at which time she was ordered to, she admitted her violation, she was reinstated to probation, apparently on time served. It was to undergo an alcohol and drug assessment, obtain and follow all recommendations, no new positive drug screens, and it was zero tolerance. On February the 12th of 2024, some 7 months or so, actually more like 9 months later, it was reopened on the state violation of probation. And again, she was then arrested and appeared before the court on March 12th of 2024 on that original and amended violation of probation. She then appeared before me on March 27th of 2024. She admitted her violation and was set for sentencing hearings on September the 25th of 2024. But she was furloughed by this court to a long-term treatment and to complete that program to be resentenced. Pre-sentence jail credits were given in that order. And then the order for review of her completion of that program was reset several times until today. So what we have is someone who has been given more than one opportunity to try to avoid serving this 5-year sentence by going through a rehabilitation program. And the last entry of the order, which was the waiver of her hearing on an appeal on violation of probation, was at a condition of her, she admitted her violation of probation, so she's in violation of her probation. It was waived a hearing, and she was furloughed to a long-term treatment and then to be resentenced. And a condition of that was that she complete her rehabilitation, which she has admittedly not done. So my options are to find that Ms. Kathy is in violation of her probation. She did not comply with the terms of this court's order regarding her completion of a rehabilitation program. So therefore, she's not in compliance with the court's order. So sentencing on one respect is very simple. I just simply find that she's not in compliance, and I send her to prison to serve that 5-year sentence. The problem with that is that Miss Kathy has done very well in the program up until the unfortunate death of her father, and that led her to have some issues. And as a result of that, there's every reason to believe that perhaps she could complete the sentence, complete the probation, complete the program at Hope Center if given another opportunity, and they're willing to take her back. She doesn't think she needs to go back. And my concern is this: whether you agree that there was a use of drugs by you or not, there are 3 separate drug screens that were given by the Hope Center to you, and all 3 of those were positive. Now, I'm familiar enough with the hair follicle drug test because we use them all the time in custody cases and divorce cases and so forth. Well, a hair follicle drug screen shows a test level of 500 milligrams per part, and all of those were negative for your test. But it doesn't show what the actual amount, if any, was. It could have shown 0, or it could have shown that there was less than 500 if you were below the testing level. The testing level, as was explained, for a urine drug screen is lower than for a test such as that. So on one respect, it seems to me that you're either convincing yourself of some fact that's simply not true, or you're failing to admit the fact that you use methamphetamine while you were on that weekend. In either event, the evidence is clear that you have not completed the program that was given to you. So I'm giving you one option. You can either re-enroll in the Hope Center for their program, or you may resume serving your sentence. You'll get credit for the time you've been in jail prior to this hearing, but that condition of your original plea, which was the second violation of probation, was that you complete the program. You have to complete it. If you don't complete it, you're going to serve the 5 years in jail or in prison. That's the judgment of the court. She is revoked to serve unless she completes that program with the Hope Center, and she may re-enroll and be furloughed to do that. Mr. Sensing, you can explain that to her in more detail, what her options are, but this court is of the opinion that she clearly did not comply with the court's order, but had come close, but close doesn't count. That's the judgment of the court in this case. All right, we're ready for the next case.